Okay, I'm underneath an avocado tree, and what I find most fascinating about trying to mimic nature is the differences there can be. In our subtropical soils, that's where an avocado tree is from. It's an area of more the subtropics versus tall grass prairie and in the Midwest, carbon is stored differently. And I think that's really important to note because as we try to practice regenerative agriculture in orchards, and we're trying to do so by mimicking nature and regenerating the soils as nature does, in the subtropics, our soil is actually pretty shallow and the carbon is stored for the most part above ground, as in a pretty intense canopy and a lot of duff material, organic material right above the soil surface. Very heavy in that duff layer. And then as you dig a hole, dig in the subtropics, it doesn't take long to get to soil that is actually um not very good. Not a lot of roots. It doesn't have deep aggregated carbon. It is more surface because that carbon is stored above ground. And even though that 1 foot or even a foot and a half of that subtropical soil is intense and it is rich, most of the carbon is stored above ground. And so as we look at this avocado tree, we're in a established mature avocado orchard. And what does an avocado, as a subtropical tree, what does an avocado love to do? Create its own environment. And it drops a lot of leaves, even though they're a perennial um, or evergreen, they still drop. These leaves only last a year to 2 or 3 years, and they'll drop them, and they drop a lot of them, and they create this layer of duck, which is pretty awesome. It looks and mimics the forest floor. And so all we have to do is pull back. Then we have soil. Now I'm just going to reach in here and start grabbing. And see this? You already see the fine hairs of an avocado tree. Like 90% of all of its roots are just found right there in the first foot. And so it's creating what it wants, a forest floor. And so when we're doing regenerative agriculture with adaptive grazing and tall grass prairie and grasses, we push carbon down and down. There might be a fire come through, wipe out the tall grass prairie. And so there's a need for that carbon to be in the ground because that's just Mother Nature's way of protecting that. And then what happens after the fire, the regime that might happen every 5 to 20 years in the tall grass prairie, in past times? Well, then you have that carbon, you have that energy to be able to pump back up and grow again. And so the same, now reverse that, and that's what you have in a forest. And it's awesome because all the carbon is found above ground, the more tropical you go. And so then you have much more carbon, a huge layer of duff. And so as we look at what tree we're growing in an orchard and how to mimic nature, if you're growing avocados or citrus, they're both subtropical, and the way to do it is with an intense amount of organic material on the top. Now, on that note, trees thrive with a symbiotic relationship with mycorrhizae or fungal species, mushrooms is what we see them, the fruiting body of a mycorrhizal species. So by using any sort of synthetic or any fungicide or any herbicide whatsoever, the first species to go are the fungal species. They're very, very sensitive. And so, but yet the tree can be so much healthier and have access to so many more nutrients in just that little bit of top, layer in the forest floor if they have that relationship with a fungal species. And so hence, as we mimic nature in our orchards, with subtropical trees, the importance of keeping fungal species alive is crucial and building something for them to come, right? If you build it, they will come. And so the importance of staying off of your synthetics, staying off of herbicides, fungicides, et cetera, and trying to use or mimic nature and doing a bit, just a very thick layer of the duff, of the organic material. Avocados love it. Citrus loves it. Anyway, it's just fun to kind of put things in context in that sense. And it's extra fun to be underneath an avocado tree and eat avocado. Enjoy.